a Chinese submarine suddenly breaks the surface just 3 miles from a U.S. aircraft carrier. The strike group's radios crackle. Unidentified submarine. You are operating in the vicinity of a United States carrier strike group. Acknowledge and maintain safe separation. No weapons powered on. Why would a captain bring his boat this close to the most heavily defended ship in the world? And what hidden cost does this risky move impose on Beijing's navy? The answer lies not in torpedoes or missiles, but in the unseen flood of intelligence that revealed everything. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. The sea looks calm, but just under its surface, a shadow moves. When that shadow breaks through the water 3 miles from the USS Ronald Reagan, everyone in the strike group sees the same thing. A Yuan-class submarine surfacing in plain view. Its stealth advantage gone in an instant. Carriers are often described as untouchable, guarded by cruisers, destroyers, and a constant air patrol. Yet here was a Chinese boat rising right inside the defensive bubble. That single image cuts through the myths of invulnerability and forces a new question. Why would a submarine captain announce himself so boldly, so close? For a diesel-electric submarine, the decision often starts with necessity. Running on electric batteries keeps the vessel silent and hard to find, but silence has limits. Batteries drain, air runs thin. Sooner or later, the captain has 2 choices: surface or risk slowing to a crawl while waiting for recharge. Surfacing exposes the entire crew and vessel, waving away the single defense that makes submarines dangerous: being unseen. No commander volunteers for that option without weighing the risks. In this case, the submarine didn't rise in front of a carrier by accident. The surfacing was both a survival requirement and a deliberate play. That gamble puts any commander in a vice. Remain submerged too long, and the sonar webs from American destroyers will eventually sniff out the weakening boat anyway. Surface in the open, and stealth shatters. Both paths invite danger, but one creates an opportunity. By surfacing near Reagan, that crew forced every radar, camera, and sonar ping to shift their attention instantly. The act itself became a message. We are here, we got close, and we want you to notice. Episodes like this have happened before. Back in 2006, during exercises near Okinawa, a Song-class submarine unexpectedly surfaced within striking distance of the carrier Kitty Hawk. 9 years later, in 2015, a Russian-built Kilo-class was detected shadowing the Reagan during operations in the Pacific. Each incident followed the same rhythm: a concealed submarine suddenly revealing its position inside a carrier group's sphere of protection. Beijing, much like Moscow in earlier decades, uses these displays not as acts of war, but as proof of presence, a staged performance for those watching. They measure both reaction time and restraint. The tactic is almost theatrical. Imagine a burglar walking straight up to a house, removing his mask, and staring into a security camera without breaking the door. The intent is not robbery, it is to send a signal. The submarine's surfacing does the same. It dares the warships encircling the carrier to act, while also allowing photographs, sonar samples, and maybe even communications intercepts to record the encounter. These stunts are not random missteps. They are controlled exposures, rehearsed to measure the edges of American discipline. Inside the defensive bubble of an American supercarrier, the risks multiply. The instant the submarine breaks water, aircraft loop overhead, destroyers shift formation, and electronic surveillance zeroes in. The defender holds overwhelming advantage in this position. It means the submarine is surrounded in every dimension, above, below, and across the horizon. To place a billion-dollar vessel into that lock willingly requires not boldness alone, but confidence that the United States won't fire the first shot. And that confidence is tested in the response. Over open radio, the submarine hears the calm voice from the Reagan's command. Unidentified submarine. You are operating in the vicinity of a United States carrier strike group. Acknowledge and maintain safe separation. No weapons powered on no threats, no immediate aggression, just an unmistakable acknowledgement that the submarine is trapped inside the spotlight. With that exchange, the moment shifts. The story is no longer only about why China surfaced a submarine near a carrier. It is about what the Americans gained from it, and how one risky appearance turned into a golden chance for intelligence. At first glance, the Chinese submarine's surfacing looked like a tactical show of strength. A submarine breaking the surface close to a U.S. carrier group suggested confidence, even boldness, as if Beijing wanted the world to see how close it could get. But while the crew of that boat gained a moment of attention, what unfolded around the USS Ronald Reagan was something invisible, silent, and far more valuable than images or headlines. For the strike group, the instant the submarine surfaced, it stopped being a dangerous threat to the carrier and became a living target for data. Every radar antenna, sonar device, and surveillance aircraft quietly pivoted, and the encounter shifted from a military clash to a massive harvest of information. The USS Ronald Reagan never sails alone. It is the centerpiece of a layered defense, a floating city backed by high-tech guardians. Surrounding the carrier were missile cruisers, designed to track aircraft and missiles far over the horizon, guided missile destroyers, whose sonar arrays reach deep into the sea, and patrol aircraft overhead, capable of laying sonar buoys over miles of ocean with precision. This ring of steel is not just about weapons. It is a net of sensors, each designed to record, catalog, and predict. When the Chinese submarine rose, it swam directly into that net, and the Reagan's battle group seized on the chance not to fire, but to listen. Many expect that at this distance, weapons would roar, missiles would streak, and depth charges might blanket the sea. Instead, the American response was deliberate avoidance of combat. The group's destroyers shifted to anti-submarine mode. Helicopters deployed dipping sonar, and electronic arrays began recording hull vibrations and propeller noise. The submarine, though it thought itself visible, still carried unique traits that betrayed everything about its build and origin. To the eye, it was just a hull, but to trained sensors, it revealed its age, its engine condition, even whether its crew was skilled or sloppy. This is because submarines leave digital fingerprints. When its propellers spin, the pitch and vibration form a unique rhythm. When it uses compressed air or expels exhaust, small bursts in the electromagnetic spectrum give it away. Radar beams bouncing off the surfaced hull reflect at distinct frequencies. A submarine cannot fake these traits, just as a person cannot erase their fingerprints. Each recorded data point allows analysts to identify the vessel more easily in the future. What looked like a public stunt at sea was, for American intelligence experts, an industrial-scale leak of secrets. The group around the Reagan froze the moment like insects caught in amber. The submarine sat exposed, and every ship in the ring fixed sensors on it. Aircraft overhead layered the ocean with sonobuoys to trap sound signatures. Cruiser radars mapped the size and shape of the conning tower. Submarine hunting specialists inside combat information centers recorded propeller notes second by second. None of this involved weapons. All of it involved patience. The discipline of restraint created a larger win than a missile or torpedo ever could. In the end, the Chinese crew surfaced for its signal, but the Americans turned that choice into an advantage. They captured patterns, signatures, and vulnerabilities that would help track not just this one submarine, but every class like it. Instead of projecting power, Beijing unintentionally exposed its Navy's silence to scrutiny. And in this war beneath the waves, knowing how to listen often proves deadlier than knowing how to strike. By bringing its submarine to the surface so close to the Reagan, China gave away far more than it gained. Every sound, every vibration, every electronic pulse became a permanent record, proving that patience and silence can be deadlier than weapons. Carrier groups today are less about brute defense and more about extracting value from every encounter, turning tense moments into trial runs for the next crisis. The standoff ended without a shot fired, yet the balance tilted heavily toward Washington. Next time a submarine breaks the surface, the real question is not, will it attack, but what secrets is it giving away?